Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got my overnight highs up here, overnight lows down here. We're in this range right here. I'll zoom in here. So basically we have this downtrend break, first attempt at a new low, second attempt at a new low, failure. That's the big picture right there. So downtrend, break, first attempt lower, that makes this double bottom. That's what forms our overnight low, break higher, second attempt lower, failure. And so we had this range forming. I have the highs here, drug the lows down to here. It was pretty clear how we were chopping here. And I was looking for a short here, except I wanted it below the EMA, except we don't get a short because we have this active measured move in play higher. So it's a bullish measured move that's active. We do have range rules. We are expecting price to reach the other side, and the measured move is directly to the range high. And so I would want something below the EMA to prove that it's failing to reach the other side and that this resistance here is winning out. Instead, it's kind of just chopping between it right here. But then when you do close below, you actually can enter with the limit order. For sure, you can enter with the limit order, except it just never goes back high enough to fill you. And notice how if you enter with a stop, it's like, look how far out of the range your target is. That's just too much. So you can't enter like that. But you push lower here, you go into this downtrend, you have this break, notice these couple legs to a new low. It looks really choppy, but if you look, you can see the downtrend break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower. Now, considering we just basically formed a bearish imbalance because we failed to reach the other side, we're bouncing early inside the range here, and then we rush back down. I don't want to take a long off of this almost nothing support right here. So also the EMA is straight down, you're right into it. It's too bearish at this point. You can't enter that. We push higher here. It kind of just chops along into this uptrend, and then we reach this high again. And it's funny because when price was up here, that was right when I took a screenshot and I was doing a chart post on the site, and I typed for a couple minutes writing something, and then when I came back to the chart, price had already dropped all the way down here and it was already back inside of the range again. So just thought I'd mention that, but yeah, there's really no short here. I mean, it's just a bearish bar. You're inside this uptrend right here. You push lower here. You have these couple legs down. That's really just one leg down here. You can kind of see here from this leg, you have this push down, and then I'll delete that and I'll drag this one over. So at first you would likely put it here, especially after you start taking off here. You'd move this measured move to here, but when you go back up and retest it, you push lower, you notice how the leg fits very well right here. So we do push a few points lower, but these legs are very clearly connected. Legs can be pretty separated. I mean, there's a lot of chop in between these two legs here, but this is very common. So anyway, yeah, and price action gets bigger as more time goes on. Notice how the downtrend at first is just break, first attempt, second attempt, and then eventually it becomes these two bigger legs here. And so anyway, we break out. I don't see anything down here. Of course, at the time, I was not paying attention because I was writing something in the site. But there's nothing down here. We just drop straight lower. We're not off of any support or anything. And we push back higher here, and we have this leg up, and then we have this two-legged break right here. So we push up. Notice this two-legged break. Now, by the time you're entering directly into stops here. That's part of why I didn't mind this congestion right here, because at this time I'm entering directly into stops. The entry bar is the whole size of this range right here. It has really good context. And so yeah, uptrend, break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher. We have this measured move in play that I drug down to there. I was expecting this measured move, except now I do like this as a big picture entry. And I do like how I'm entering right into stops, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it is still congestive, so I'm not going to push my target, through a bunch of resistance, which is why I actually took it before this right here, which I even possibly could have extended it at that time, except I wanted to play it safe. The context was really good, but you can't push your target, to say 1 to 2 straight through resistance if it's chopping. But if you ignore those wicks and you can notice the bodies, and the bodies are more important for big picture entries. So anyway, once again, we have that uptrend, two-legged break. Notice those two legs down, and then we just tick lower. As soon as we hit the overnight low, we just trap straight higher and hit those stops really fast. So that stop entry right there is exactly where the shorts have their stops. Of course, some of them have their stops up here, but a lot of them are piling them right here. So we push up here, we start the second leg up here. We don't reach the measured move. We do find resistance here. We bounce off it right here. Of course, that's not a good short. I mean, you didn't reach the measured move. Definitely has STT, but that's besides the point. It does not have STT. It barely closed out, but that's besides the point. It didn't reach the measured move. You can't just take it because it has a red bar off of it. We push lower here, lower high, not off of anything. We push lower, get this bigger downtrend here. We overshoot this small downtrend. Overshoots will often lead to a break. We're not off of any support right here, and we also have this smaller STT right here, so I don't like entering here. But we do push higher, so now we have this red leg up, break, second leg up. We're pushing higher, and then we get a little bit choppy. We break out of this congestion, so we could expect a fade, except I wanted something above the EMA, and we just don't get that here. You need a limit order, but it just cranks straight up to the highs, so you really can't enter like that. Plus, see, let me just show you this. Once again, it's just way out. You can't enter like that. But you do have this higher low, which you don't have much room. I mean, you would still have to push it outside of it. And notice how you just cranked straight down, and you're really not entering into any stops here. Like, notice how here I was entering straight into stops. If you enter here, you would have to expect it to hit those stops way after your entry, and so it's just not the same as entering right into stops. So we push higher here. We reach that, or we almost reach that measured move. We come within a few ticks of it, and then we start pushing lower, and this is where I was looking for a short, except once again, kind of like over here, I didn't want to enter above the EMA. I wanted it below the EMA because we didn't quite reach the measured move, and it was kind of just starting to chop around, but then we got this entry right here, and it ticked higher than this last bar, and then it just shot all the way back down. And I did put my stop above here because this putting your stop right here would be, it's not a very safe stop because it is kind of just continuing down the body. It's clearly just one leg down here, but it did tick higher and just trap straight lower and then close below the EMA, which gave me confidence in this. But I do have to put my stop above the whole stop in this situation. And I just wanted to get out before this swing right here. So this is 1.25R. I didn't want to push it past this swing right here because, you can get a correction. You can make a failed second entry. You can push lower, correct on you before going lower. So, I wanted to get out before this kind of support right here, or possible support. We had this move up right here, or this trend line going up right here, and I didn't find any good longs off of it. It really got just choppy, everything below the EMA. So there's nothing there, in my opinion, but we do push off of it. We have this push higher, and then we start this second leg. We push lower. It gets very congestive here, but we do eventually just plummet straight out, and then that takes us to this trade right here. And so this trade is based on Symmetry. It's based on this very sharp drop. So notice how when we started this leg down here, at first it was kind of chopping around, which of course has to do with this trend line here. Regardless of whether it's chopping around because of the trend line, some range, it really just broke out from here, and then this is where the symmetry is. So I'm not expecting a symmetrical move from this whole leg down. I'm only expecting it from where the real breakout is starting. And so once again, I still waited for the closeout of this STT right here, and the trade is based on two major legs down. We didn't quite reach the measured move, but the overnight low did hold really well, and then I waited for a closeout of the STT. When you get a very sharp drop like that, so basically starting from right here, we just drop straight down. You can expect bounce back up, because when you get very sharp moves in one direction, very commonly you'll get sharp moves back in the other direction, and then if you have good context, you can trade based on that. And so that's what we do here. We push back in. The target, notice, is only to where the breakout started. It's not, I'm not going to push it to these highs up here, although it does go higher than that. So anyway, we push up here. I don't get any shorts up here, unfortunately. We just kind of have one leg up here, break, first attempt at a new high, and then it's really just a lower high. A lower high itself is not good enough. Now here, notice here, I did take that lower high, but I put the stop up there. We had these two major legs up here. At this point, we just have one major leg up and then one attempt at a new high, so that's not good enough. But we do plummet from here, and then I made a mistake here, and So notice, all right, so notice these two legs here. So these two legs down, they're very separated, and then these two legs back up, the red ones, they're very separated. So this is where my mistake came in. I kind of just convinced myself that the range was stronger than it was because it was basically just holding back and forth all day. But so we broke out, faded back in, and I was expecting to take this higher low, and that's why I was okay with it below the EMA, because I just kind of in my head mentally convinced myself it was really strong. But what I was not, I was thinking of it as like a couple legs down and then break and then a higher, and then we break back in after those two legs down and then a higher low. Really, this is one leg down. I mean, like, compare that to these legs here. You know, this one leg here is made up of two smaller legs, which ends up becoming two bigger legs. And it's same here, except this is only sharper. And so two legs down, which is really just one leg down. So the way I view it here is one leg down, break, first attempt at a new low, and then I was betting on the first attempt at a new low to fail, which is not good. You don't want to do that. You want to bet on the second attempts, not the first attempts. So that's the thing. Market moves in twos. And so the fact that it was just the first attempt at a new low failure and it was below the EMA, that, you know, that's just not a good trade. That's just not a good trade. So I got stopped out very fast. And just like I was saying about the these two legs here becoming one bigger leg, we end up forming a second leg down because we made this double top. That's count reset. We push lower, one leg down, break, second leg down. We haven't quite reached the measured move. We bounced early, but that's basically what's happening there. And so I gave some, with my stop loss, I gave some momentum down. Obviously not a lot, but, you know, compared to the institutions, the, you know, massive. But anyway, so I didn't find any shorts in here. We kind of got congestive. You can see that second entry. It's really just congestive and then a horrible signal bar. Breakout pullback. I'm not a fan of breakout pullbacks alone unless they're also some other kind of entry. It's just a first entry. You're entering into the lows. I don't like that. And then we push lower. It's kind of the same thing. We break this trend right here. You're still entering very low. It's just a first entry short. I don't like that trade. I don't really like breakout pullbacks and first entries, especially when you're entering very low. I like them being something else as well, or having like really good context. But we push lower here. We go into this range right here. Now, at this point, we could still be expecting the measured move to reach, and so we can look for shorts up here, but we get one push up higher here, and, you know, by the time you get the second entry, it's clearly holding to the upside here. It didn't hold perfectly off the EMA, but it held, you know, about 50% in the range. Then we had a second bullish push out, and so I'm not going to enter into the EMA like that, especially just into the lows. Clearly, it looks like this two-legged move is exhausting, and it looks like it's trying to reverse, so it's holding above the EMA and just continually closing above at an area that it could reverse, especially after triple bottom like that. I'm not going to short into the EMA. And so, anyway, we do bounce off. We have this breakout pullback. We push up higher here. We start forming this uptrend here. We get these shallow corrections. We don't quite reach the EMA on any of them. And yeah, that's really it for the day. And then we reach the overnight low. We bounce off of it. We can't go short off of it. We have this uptrend in play. And then now we're forming this. So yeah, that's really it for the day. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, and hope you found it helpful. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time.